The cameras flashed, the crowd, I mean, they just completely froze. And just like that, Hollywood had a totally new obsession because Taylor Swift just gave fans a surprise nobody expected.
Welcome to Starscope Report.
Yeah, we are so excited you're joining us as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and, viral influencer scandals from red carpet surprises to social media controversies. We dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And for today's deep dive, we are looking at something that goes way, way beyond standard celebrity gossip. We are unpacking the unbelievable cultural, economic, and the psychological blast radius of the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce relationship.
Right, because, this is not just about two famous people dating anymore, is it? It's so much bigger.
No, not at all. We're looking at a relationship that literally moves the stock market. It alters human psychology. And the perfect catalyst for you and I to examine this is the breaking news from just this past Tuesday night, ahead of today's date, June 24th, 2026.
Oh man, the Nashville surprise. Exactly. The unannounced, completely viral appearance at the Tight End University concert in Nashville.
To really unpack the mechanics of what happened there, and more importantly, the ongoing ripple effects, we've pulled a really diverse stack of sources for this deep dive.
Yeah, we have real-time reporting from Rolling Stone and Sports Illustrated.
We also have comprehensive biographical histories from Wikipedia, plus this fascinating, really rigorous academic study from Montclair State University.
Right, which actually tracks the real-time social media sentiment and the market impact of this specific romance.
So let's just jump right into the sheer theatricality of Tuesday night at the Pinnacle in Nashville.
Okay, so picture this. Travis Kelce, George Kittle, and Greg Olsen are hosting their annual Tight End University event.
Which, is usually just this very insular 3-day training and networking camp for NFL tight ends.
Exactly. So they throw this private concert to kick things off. And midway through the set by country star Lainey Wilson, she turns to this massive crowd of giant football players and corporate sponsors and says, "I don't think y'all are ready for what is about to happen."
Which is just the perfect narrative setup,
No, it really is. And out walks Taylor Swift.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she is wearing this asymmetrical black fringe dress with a ruffled silver hem and these aquazzura heels.
Amazing.
Right, and she just turns to the band and asks, "Do you want to do Love Story?"
You have this highly masculine sports environment, and you drop the ultimate pop culture wild card right in the center of it.
Totally. She actually tells the crowd the song was requested by a, quote, very special tight end, joking that his name is George Kittle.
Which is hilarious.
The reaction from the crowd is absolute pandemonium. You had country singer Chase Rice, who performed earlier, declaring himself a Swiftie with a 13 drawn on his hand.
But the climax of the performance is what we really need to focus on, right?
Yes, because it wasn't just a spontaneous musical cameo.
No, it was a meticulously timed continuation of their public narrative. Because when they reached the bridge of the song, she timed her movements perfectly with the lyrics.
Oh my God.
Yeah, right at the line, he knelt to the ground and pulled out a ring. She held up her left hand to the venue. The stage lights caught her engagement ring, and the reaction was just visceral.
Grown adults were literally weeping, like football players and their families crying at a corporate networking event.
It's wild to think about.
Watching the footage, it really crystallized something for me. This a public relationship, it isn't just a celebrity pairing. It's like a live-action, serialized fairy tale.
Oh, I like that.
It is basically a massive crossover event. It's the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but for pop culture and sports.
Exactly. Every game, date night, and concert cameo is a new chapter for the fans to consume.
Right. You have Swifties who have never watched a down of football suddenly learning what a tight end is.
And you have 50-year-old die-hard sports fans tracking Billboard chart debuts.
Yes. They've essentially merged two completely distinct demographic databases into a single unified consumer monolith. Every game, every paparazzi photo, it's a new chapter they consume together.
And if we look at the data, that intense emotional investment, that feeling that fans are living inside a serialized story, it didn't happen by accident.
Right.
And that's not even the wildest part. Wait until you hear what this emotional investment actually did to the global economy. Because it reached a fever pitch last summer when Kelce actually did pull out a ring.
Ooh, yes, which triggered a measurable economic shockwave.
Exactly, which really proves your point about this merged demographic.
So let's get into the mechanics of that shockwave, because this is where the Montclair State University study comes in.
Right.
The engagement happens on August 27th, 2025. The numbers in this academic paper are just staggering. When they posted the announcement on Instagram, they used the caption, "Your English teacher and gym teacher are getting married."
Which, frankly, is brilliant internet fluency.
It really is. It plays right into the high school archetypes the internet had already assigned them.
It validates the fans' perception of them. And the metrics reflect that validation perfectly.
Mhm.
I mean, Google searches for their engagement spiked 1,000%.
Wow.
Yeah, resulting in 5 million searches in just 19 hours. The Instagram post hit 10 million likes in an hour. Overall, social discussions saw a 7,222% increase.
And those aren't just vanity metrics. Those simultaneous conversations have a direct financial blast radius.
Right. The researchers tracked the ripple effects on brands that were merely adjacent to the event.
Yes, like the chic striped Ralph Lauren dress Swift was wearing in the engagement photo. It sold out in minutes. Ralph Lauren saw an instant 63% spike in brand mentions.
That's incredible.
And the NFL and the Kansas City Chiefs saw a 96% increase in brand mentions days before the season started. But I want to bring up the most surprising detail.
Oh, the Cracker Barrel situation.
Yes. We have to explain how this engagement literally bailed out Cracker Barrel. Like, how does that actually work mechanically?
Well, it comes down to the mechanics of algorithmic trading and the attention economy. Cracker Barrel was actively going through a massive PR crisis.
Right.
They had redesigned their logo, sparking this intense online backlash from conservatives who labeled it a capitulation to woke culture.
And their stock was crashing, right?
Exactly. The brand was bleeding stock value, roughly a $100 million drop, because institutional investors in trading algorithms monitor social sentiment.
Okay, so when a brand's negative sentiment spikes, algorithms often trigger sell-offs.
You got it. But when the engagement happened, the internet became so singularly consumed by the Swift and Kelce news that the Cracker Barrel controversy was just completely eclipsed.
Wait, hold on. So you're telling me institutional investors stopped dumping a restaurant stock because teenagers were making memes of a tight end and a pop star?
Essentially, yes. But it wasn't just ignored, it was co-opted. Users started creating these bizarre hybrid memes, blending photos of the newly engaged couple with the new Cracker Barrel logo.
Oh.
Yeah, they were venting frustration about the restaurant while simultaneously celebrating the engagement.
The sentiment tracking algorithms get confused. They see the brand name associated with words like engaged, love, OMG, and happy, and the system registers a halt in the negative PR cycle.
Exactly. The human attention shifted so violently toward the romance that it broke the cycle of negative press. It inadvertently provided the company with a massive distraction that stabilized their stock.
That is wild. But, looking at all of these corporate benefits, I have to play devil's advocate and push back hard here.
Okay, let's hear it.
I'm looking at the timeline provided in the sources. The engagement is announced mere days before the 2025 NFL season begins. And it also happens right as the promotional machine is revving up for Swift's highly anticipated 12th studio album. The Chiefs get a 96% boost right before kickoff. Her album dominates the cultural conversation.
I see where you're going with this.
We are talking about maximum commercial interest across multiple billion-dollar industries. Is it not highly probable that this entire fairy tale milestone was meticulously orchestrated by boardrooms to align with these exact release dates?
Look, it is a completely logical deduction to look at the timeline and see corporate orchestration.
Right.
But the fascinating part of the Montclair study is that, from a consumer behavior standpoint, it simply doesn't matter if it was orchestrated or not.
Wait, really? Why wouldn't that matter?
The researchers explain this using a psychological framework called narrative transportation theory.
Narrative transportation. So is that basically like when you're watching a really good movie and you completely forget you're sitting in a theater?
That is the exact mechanism.
So the audience is so bought into the romance that they forget they're looking at a carefully timed marketing rollout.
Yes. The human brain evolved to process and prioritize stories, not raw data or cynical timelines. According to the AI-driven sentiment analysis in the study, 82% of the social media posts about the engagement expressed pure joy.
Pure joy.
Yeah. Fans were hyper-fixating on granular details, like the fact that her ring features an 8-carat Old Mine brilliant cut diamond from Artifacts Fine Jewelry.
Ah, I see.
When the brain is actively engaged in narrative world-building, imagining the proposal, studying the cut of the diamond, analyzing the English teacher caption, it bypasses the critical thinking centers that would normally scream, "You are being marketed to," by two billionaires.
So the narrative transportation overrides their natural consumer skepticism.
Exactly.
The fairy tale feels so authentic and joyous that the commercial benefits are just accepted as a byproduct.
Right. And if you're loving these Hollywood twists and psychological deep dives, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead.
Yes, definitely hit subscribe. But, all of this joy and narrative transportation isn't just floating in the ether. Attention is a raw material.
Absolutely.
And Swift's absolute genius is how she immediately refines that raw attention into a tangible product, which is exactly what happened in October 2025 when she released her album, The Life of a Showgirl.
And the mechanism she used to announce that album is just a masterclass in modern media control.
Totally. She didn't utilize a traditional late-night talk show, and she didn't give an exclusive to a major music publication.
No, she announced it on August 13th, 2025, directly on New Heights, the sports podcast hosted by Travis and his brother, Jason Kelce.
Think about how you consume news. If you're a fan, would you rather read a sterilized PR press release in a magazine or hear the news directly from the guy's mouth while he's laughing with his brother on YouTube?
The YouTube video wins every time.
Exactly. By announcing it on the podcast, they set a Guinness World Record. Over 1.3 million concurrent viewers tuned into a sports podcast to hear a pop music announcement.
It's just brilliant.
To me, the New Heights podcast functions exactly like a modern-day royal press secretary. They are bypassing the middleman entirely.
They don't need tabloids to shape the narrative because they own the printing press.
Right. They feed the fans the exact tone and information they want to share directly to their phones.
It is the ultimate evolution of direct-to-consumer marketing. And the album itself, The Life of a Showgirl, perfectly reflects that controlled, intimate narrative.
Yeah, let's talk about the album.
Musically, our sources describe it as a shift, a soft pop and soft rock record, leaning into new wave arrangements. Thematically, it focuses heavily on fame and deep contentment and love.
The lyrics are incredibly intimate, which just fuels that narrative transportation we talked about. You have tracks like Honey, which is this R&B-influenced country pop ballad.
Oh, I love that track.
Me too. The lyrics actually reference how Kelce redefined pet names for her. She contrasts her past negative experiences with men using terms like honey against the sincerity of her current relationship.
But, she ensures the album isn't just a one-dimensional fairy tale. She balances the vulnerability with sharp cultural critique.
Right, like the track Canceled.
Yes, which is this atmospheric pop-punk and grunge satire targeting the entertainment industry and misogyny.
So she is reminding the audience that while she's portraying this romance, she remains acutely aware of the mechanisms of fame that are currently profiting from it.
Exactly. And commercially, this strategy of combining intimate narrative with direct-to-consumer podcast drops was flawless.
I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. The album debuted with 4 million first-week units in the U.S. alone, 3.4 million of which were pure sales.
The biggest debut in U.S. history. It's staggering.
It really is. But this is where we have to flip the coin.
Right.
Because when you bypass the traditional media, when you use podcasts and lyrics to cultivate this deeply intimate one-on-one dynamic with millions of people, you create unprecedented loyalty.
You do.
But you also open the door to a very dark psychological downside. When you invite millions of people into your personal reality, some of them are going to feel entitled to dictate what that reality should be.
And later in the episode, we'll talk about the shocking twist nobody saw coming when that entitlement clashes with reality.
Yes, because that brings us to a complex phenomenon thoroughly documented in the biographical histories we pulled.
Now, looking at the comprehensive histories, there's a highly documented psychological phenomenon here that we need to unpack objectively.
Right. And just to be clear to you listening, we are not taking sides or endorsing the viewpoints of this group or the critics calling them invasive. We are simply reporting on the psychological phenomenon documented in the original sources.
Absolutely. So there is a deeply invested subset of fans, known as Gaylors, who operate under the strict interpretation that Swift's lyrics are queer, and that her public relationships with men are essentially PR staging.
Which is a huge claim.
It is. And regardless of where anyone stands on this, the psychological impact of this theory clashing with reality is fascinating to observe in the data.
Exactly. This isn't just a casual fan theory. For many in this community, it is a deeply held personal conviction. And when the engagement to Travis Kelce was announced in August 2025, the reaction was intense.
Very intense.
According to the reporting, members of the Gaylor community literally mourned the news. The subreddit dedicated to the theory had to be taken private to avoid outside trolling.
Yeah, you had members claiming Kelce was just a beard. There were even comments analyzing her engagement dress, claiming the stripes made it look like a prison uniform.
Which is just so dark.
The sources note that reporters documented members of this community suffering severe mental distress, including panic attacks over the engagement news.
It caused a profound cognitive dissonance.
Right. And it's worth noting that Swift herself actually addressed this type of speculation previously, writing in the prologue of 1989 Taylor's version about how tabloid media and the public had unfairly sexualized her friendships with women.
So I have to look at the mechanics of this distress. Swift has a very unique relationship with her fans. The Swifties call it Taylorking, right?
Right.
She monitors their social media for months, she sends them personalized care packages, and she has even invited fans she vetted online into her actual homes for private listening sessions.
Which is unprecedented access.
Exactly. If you invite someone to your house, they think they are your friend. They think they get a vote in your life. Does this unprecedented level of access, breaking the fourth wall, so completely accidentally pour gasoline on these intense parasocial delusions?
Well, from a sociological standpoint, absolutely. When a global megastar breaks the fourth wall to that degree, the traditional boundaries of celebrity evaporate.
They just vanish.
Yeah. The fans no longer feel like passive consumers of art. They feel like active participants in a friendship. They feel they know her personal truth better than the media does.
Wow.
So when the star makes a major life choice like getting engaged to a football player that directly contradicts a fan's deeply held personal headcanon, the psychological whiplash is devastating.
That makes total sense.
It feels less like a celebrity news update and more like a profound betrayal by a close friend.
It's the dark edge of narrative transportation theory. They are so transported into their specific, personalized version of the story that reality itself causes panic.
It's dangerous, honestly.
It just proves how unimaginably high the stakes are when you blur the lines between art, commerce, and personal life. Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next, because we have to figure out what this means for the future.
It is a delicate tightrope. The very mechanisms that allow an album to sell 4 million copies in a week and cause a 1,000% spike in search traffic are the exact same mechanisms that can trigger profound emotional distress in a parasocially attached audience.
Right.
The intimacy is the product. And when the product changes, the consumer feels betrayed.
The intimacy is the product. That is the absolute crux of this whole phenomenon. And that brings us to why this deep dive matters to you, whether you care about pop music, football, or neither.
Exactly.
The Swift and Kelce relationship is the ultimate case study in 21st century power. It proves that the most valuable currency in the world right now isn't a physical commodity.
No, it's human attention, wrapped in a compelling, serialized story.
We are witnessing the absolute blurring of reality, romance, and corporate commerce on a scale that has never existed before. They haven't just captured the culture, they have engineered a new way for the culture to consume itself.
It really forces us to recognize that we aren't just watching a relationship. We are actively participating in an economic ecosystem every time we click, stream, or comment.
And as we wrap up today's deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over.
Okay, lay it on us.
We know that Swift and Kelce have a rumored wedding date set for July 3rd, 2026 at Madison Square Garden.
Right, the big day.
But what happens to this unprecedented billion-dollar media machine after the vows are exchanged?
Ooh, that's a great question.
In a traditional fairy tale, the story ends at happily ever after, the curtain drops. But billion-dollar brands don't get to end.
No, they require constant conflict, new eras, and perpetual reinvention to survive the attention economy.
So how does a brand built entirely on the anticipation of a fairy tale sustain its momentum once the storybook is technically closed?
It's going to be fascinating to watch.
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where we uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.